Hey there, everybody. I just wanted to give a quick little tutorial on how to use StatCrunch to do some of the calculations using the normal distribution. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just show you a problem. Let me share this screen. Okay, so here's a problem. It says, suppose scores on the SAT exam were normally distributed with mean 1100 and standard deviation 200. Answer the following. Aaron scored 995 on the SAT. What proportion of students performed worse than Aaron? Okay, so here we have our normal distribution. In this problem, you're even shown a picture of that distribution. Don't expect that always to be the case. Usually you won't be shown this. This problem just happens to have it here. So it says scores on the SAT exam are normally distributed. Okay, we're using the normal distribution with mean 1100 and standard deviation 200. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to StatCrunch, and I'm going to open StatCrunch, and I am going to get to this data matrix screen, and we're going to access the normal distribution calculator. So for that, we go to Stat, Calculators, and there's all kinds of distributions here, but we were told this is a normal distribution, so I'm going to choose normal from the list. And here it shows a picture of a normal distribution. Now, if you look at the values down here, they don't match the values that we saw in the picture. And that's because this normal distribution is set to have mean 0 and standard deviation 1. If I go back to the problem, notice this normal distribution has mean 1100 and standard deviation 200. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go set that in here, mean 1100, standard deviation 200. Okay, so now let's look at the problem. It says Aaron scored 995. What proportion of students performed worse than Aaron? We want to know what proportion of students had a score less than 995. So let's go back here. Notice that this is a less than or equal to sign, so that's good. And 995, and then I'll hit compute. And notice it shows me a picture of the distribution. And it's shaded to the left, which makes sense because we're looking at values to the less than. So that means to the left of. So make sure that shading matches what you're doing. And it gives us the probability of getting a value less than 995 is 0.2997. That's 29979. So really, if you're going to round this to 4 decimal places, we should round it to 0.2998. All right, so that's the value that I'm going to put in here. 0.2998. And yeah, that was probability, but probability equals the proportion. Okay. Next, Betty scored 1325. What proportion of students performed better than Betty? Well, we'll go back to StatCrunch, 1325. Now, in this case, it says better than Betty. So we want greater than or equal to. Notice that it's shaded to the right. We're looking at scores greater than or equal to Betty's. So the probability or the proportion, same thing, 0.13029. I'm going to round this to 0.1303. Okay, there we go. Next one. What proportion of students got a score between Aaron's and Betty's scores? Okay, so I want to score between 995 and 1325. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put between here. We want to be between 995 and I think it was 1325. Notice that it says 995 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than or equal to 1325. X is between these two numbers. And see, we have a shaded area between these two values, so that makes sense. Always look at the picture to make sure it makes sense what you're doing. And 0.56991, so I keep it 0.5699. That is the proportion of students that got a score between those students. What score represents the 86th percentile of exam scores? Well, 86th percentile is the value which is better than 86% of the exam scores. All right, so we know that the proportion of scores to the left is 0.86. What we want to do is find out what value is that. So it's the same as other problems, but working backwards. We're starting with a proportion and we're coming back to the value. So 0.86 is the proportion. So in here, I'm going to go back to standard because I'm going to the left of. So I'm going to put 0.86 in here. And I'm going left of. And it looks like it already gave it to me here. It tells me what value has to be there. X has to be less than or equal to 1316.0639. So I'll put that whole thing in there. It says round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so round that to the nearest whole number. And oh, there's one more. What score represents the 10th percentile of exam scores? Oh, I put this in the wrong spot. Sorry. 1316 goes here. Okay, so what score represents the 10th percentile of exam scores? So the 10th percentile is the score that's greater than the lowest 10%. So that means that the proportion to the left of that score is 0.1. So what I'm going to do is go to StatCrunch, put 0.1 in here. That's my proportion. Hit compute, and there's the value right here. And notice it shaded to the left, just like I want. So I'm rounding to the nearest whole number. So 843.6 becomes 844. So that is the value that I put here, 844. So that's how you use StatCrunch to compute probabilities of percentile.